Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
Good to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy. We're starting with weather because we have some serious weather out there. Heavy rain, thunderstorms today and into tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and it looks like flooding is going to be a real possibility. We've already seen a few thunderstorms. Follow me, if you will, over here. We'll talk about the flood watches and flood warnings first. They are widespread. Everywhere that you see shaded in green right here is a flood watch. A watch means it may happen. And that is in effect through Saturday morning. Obviously, rising creeks and streams and agricultural areas flooding from tremendously heavy rain, but also in the cities, urban flooding. Such a heavy downpour of rain possible to overwhelm the sewer systems and the drainage systems on the streets, so that could be a real problem. We have a flood warning in effect until 8:30 this evening in this area here, parts of Adams and Grant County. Heavy rain there may cause flooding as well as some mudslides. Remember, this is the area that we've seen a lot of those fires, so we have burn scars there. There's no vegetation, so that's why we worry about the mudslides in those areas. Here's a look at your Doppler radar. We're seeing a pretty heavy storm, strong storm moving through the Cheney area right now, just west of Spokane. We had very strong storms moving through Weippe and the Kamei area. You see these tracking to the northwest right now at about 30 miles per hour. Here's a closer look at that Cheney storm. So again, you can see Spokane, Spangle right there. Spokane is located right about here. So again, this system right here, as you can see, moving to the northwest, folks in Cheney and to the west of Cheney, out towards Williams Lake, you're seeing some pretty strong thunderstorms right now. Some of these may be producing some hail. The storm that we had earlier down in north central Idaho, when we had that severe thunderstorm warning during the 3 o'clock hour, that had wind gusts being estimated up to 80 miles per hour. Again, here's a look at the Doppler radar, and again, you can see widespread precipitation. Very strong storms also moving from north central Idaho up towards northern Idaho, again moving to the northwest, northwest at about 30 miles per hour. Again, there's a closer view of these particular storms, and again, lots and lots of activity. This is the storm track, and again, this is going to be updated as we get more and more into the evening, but just to give you an idea, especially for folks that have the kids outside doing those baseball games, we could see some really heavy rain and thunderstorms moving into the Spokane area just before 6 o'clock. So here's a look at what you can expect across the area. We're talking about an overnight low of 48 degrees. We'll see decreasing storms once the sun sets. I think it'll be mostly dry, or we'll get some thunderstorms and heavy rain tomorrow, but I think we may be mostly dry on Saturday, which of course is the Torchlight Parade. We'll look for a high of 62, maybe some showers redeveloping on Sunday. Tonight and tomorrow will be the strongest storms that we see across the area.
Thank you, Tom.
I've definitely been threatened with knives, machetes. I've had screwdrivers pulled on me.
Well, yikes. Downtown Spokane Partnership ambassadors provide security and hospitality services. Now they're wearing those new gray vests to try and increase their safety while on the job.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley talked with them to find out why they're necessary.
You could say these ambassadors with the Downtown Spokane Partnership are like Swiss Army knives of Spokane's downtown core.
Whether it's changing a tire or helping find a lost child.
They patrol 80 square blocks downtown to report and help with any safety concerns. Their new uniforms now include these gray bulletproof vests.
Downtown is safe, but the reality, we all know the reality. We are faced with a growing opioid, frankly, and methamphetamine pandemic that is creating more erratic and criminal behavior. My team is often first responder to these situations before law enforcement can get here.
Dan Hall has patrolled downtown Spokane as an ambassador for about 20 years.
I think with our level of engagement with individuals on the street, the potential for something to happen to us has increased. As far as the average citizen on the street, I don't agree with that. I think everybody's pretty safe down here.
He says downtown has changed for the better over the years, but they still have the occasional interactions that may become violent.
Definitely been threatened with knives, machetes. I've had screwdrivers pulled on me.
Hall has noticed wearing these vests has been a deterrent for those encounters. During our Facebook Live interview about the vests, viewers overall had a positive response to the new gear. But one comment suggested wearing the vests may make downtown look like it is unsafe.
The assumption from somebody walking by might be, oh, well, that means maybe it is more unsafe in downtown Spokane, but you're saying that's not the case.
Well, I mean, let's not mistake. Again, we are dealing with globally, frankly, a rising level of opioid and methamphetamine use, which is creating more erratic and criminal behavior. In terms of the average citizen, I would say downtown is safe. In terms of the type of behavior and the interaction that my team is engaged with, I'd say things have gotten more concerning.
The city of Portland has a similar downtown ambassador program with most of the team wearing vests as well. Hall says even most private security in Spokane wear them.
I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Amanda Roldy, KREM 2 News.
In other news, this is a topic we've been talking about since the start of the year. The numbers just keep growing. There are now 4 new measles cases in Western Washington, and this is in addition to another case announced over the weekend.
So now several schools are seeing its effect. Mark Hanrahan joins us in the studio with more on what schools are doing to keep students safe.
Yes, good afternoon, guys. First, let's start with the numbers. The measles outbreak is spreading nationwide. There are currently 839 confirmed cases, according to the CDC. That is the worst outbreak we've seen in the U.S. in 25 years. So here in Washington, there are currently a total of 5 confirmed cases, all of which over on the west side of the state. Now, this is separate from a different outbreak centered in southwest Washington that was declared over last month. There were 71 confirmed measles cases in that outbreak. Because of the new measles cases, drastic action is being taken at 2 schools. One school is outright closed today. Another school is telling unvaccinated students and staff not to attend. North Shore School District leaders are not letting unvaccinated students come back to school until June. The decision was made after a student tested positive for measles. Meantime, Issaquah High School decided to close and check the immunization status of all their staff members. A staff member at that school, one of the 5 new cases in Western Washington. Now, with all of this going on, we wanted to know if school districts in our area require staff to be immunized. Our Tim Fan is fishing up that story. He'll bring it to you on KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. For now, we'll send things back to you guys.
Thank you, Mark. In California, state investigators can confirm now that power lines owned and operated by PG&E caused the Camp Fire. In that fire, at least 85 people were killed.
That fire mostly burned in and around the town of Paradise. Of the 27,000 people who once lived there, only about 1,500 have returned. Well, now there's a new threat to the community that's trying to rebuild there. Whitney Ward joins us with more on that. Whitney?
That's right. So when the Camp Fire ripped through Paradise, 19,000 buildings were just reduced to ash. Melted metal, plastic, and wood burned in the fire and created quite a toxic mix. Now, state investigators have discovered that mixture seeped into the water supply. Some of that water has now tested positive for elevated levels of cancer-causing benzene.
We've tested about 500 service lines in our district at this point, and about 30% of them have come up with contamination.
So now crews are testing the water along 173 miles of pipeline to find out which sections need to be replaced. But that project alone could take 2 years. For now, all of the water there is off limits. Locals in that area are relying on massive water tanks for cooking and bathing. Homeowners say this basic need is costing them about $250 every few weeks. Insurance companies have been covering that cost for now.
They said, we'll get one more refill and then they're done. And I said, but it's contaminated. He said, that's not in our policy.
You know, we tell our girls no more baths, try to do 2-minute showers.
Wow. Crews in Paradise have to divide up their time now between cleaning up all of those charred remnants and then fixing the water system. Homeowners, though, say the water supply needs to be the top priority. Securing safe water, of course, also key for Paradise businesses and schools that still have not reopened. There were about 1,200 businesses in town before the fire, and so far only about 10% have reopened. Tom, Jane.
Wow, Whitney, thank you very much. Well, in other news, lighter news, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Oh.
One local researcher has made finding signs of Sasquatch a priority, and now he and a team are actually heading to a remote part of Alaska to hunt for the legendary creature.
Yeah, that area is home to settlers being driven away by what they called the hairy man. The expedition group is thought to be the first to explore the area, and KREM 2's Taylor Vito caught up with the researcher ahead of the big trip.
At first glance, it might look just like a normal Jeep, but upon closer inspection, it's an official rig, complete with a calling card.
We want to go places where other people haven't.
It's outside the office of Stephen Major. He runs Extreme Expeditions Northwest. They're an adventure company with a unique pitch. Tag along with them not to just only get outdoors, but to find evidence of a North American legend, a creature Major first saw the tracks of as a teenager in British Columbia.
And that was my first exposure to the reality that Bigfoot existed.
You see, for Major, it's not a matter of determining if Bigfoot is real, but rather where the hairy creature is dwelling. After Sasquatch investigations of his own, Major created his own company, Extreme Expeditions Northwest, last year. They offer guided Bigfoot trips, and now they're about to embark on their biggest and scariest adventure to date.
No one's ever been up here.
It's a long ways away. From their headquarters in Spokane Valley, Major will be packing up and heading all the way to Alaska, specifically to a place called Port Chatham. It's a very remote area that's not home to people anymore, only legends.
In 1950, the residents of Port Chatham, Alaska, just abruptly got up and abandoned the place because they were afraid of the hairy man.
The native Alaskans called it Nantinaq, their version of Bigfoot. Settlers of Port Chatham shared stories of people who left to hunt and never returned. Others were found dead.
He's been known to stalk humans. He's a cannibal. He goes after people.
The stories don't seem to bother Major or the nicknames of the areas near Port Chatham where this Bigfoot is rumored to live.
And they call it the Lake of No Return because people would go up there and hunt Dall sheep and not come back.
Major has been to Port Chatham 3 times before to scope out the area. This is footage from last September when he and a team looked for signs of the legendary cannibal.
We found tracks. That's as far as we made it, and we got the hell out of there after that.
Now that's going to change. Later this month, Major and 3 others will return to Port Chatham. They'll venture up to the Lake of No Return and camp there for a couple nights. Unlike other Sasquatches, Major says this one isn't elusive and may try to approach them.
No one has gone in there with the sole intent of finding definitive proof of the hairy man, trying to force an encounter with him.
So that's what makes this trip unique, he says. It's too remote for anyone to pull a hoax. And for those non-believers, Major has a message.
What I tell people is this. If they're a real doubter about it, I say, just come along with us. Come on one of our expeditions and you'll be a believer when you're done.
What he and the team will find remains to be seen, but Major says they'll be ready.
I'm excited. Really, really excited.
In Spokane Valley, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
Well, let's just hope he's wrong. Right?
I like Spokane Community College Sasquatch. That's what I like.
Yes.